All right, you're welcome back. Welcome back. And we are back like we never left. This is the Wealth Bridge podcast, and we're so excited to have you on this special day. We're still in the month of May, by the way, okay? And May actually being the fifth month of the year signifies grace. I hope you and your household joining us, listening to us, catching up on the replay will find grace even in this time of need. All right, you're welcome. You're welcome. My name is Modupe, and I don't get to do this alone. I have my wonderful, amiable co-hosts in person of Adebola and Ademola. How are you doing, lady and gentlemen?
God bless. We are having fun. I'm having fun. It's been, summertime is here, and I just can't wait to get into the waters.
Be careful while you get into the waters. Okay. All
I
right.
think
What about you,
I should ask
Debola?
you now, what part of the country are you when you talk of summertime? Because I thought we were in the same place. It's still
You don't worry about that.
Hi everyone. It's great to be back with these two, ever ready partners, and I hope we're gonna give you some good stuff today. Let's get into
Wonderful.
it.
Wonderful. Thank you so much. You heard them say it. They told you they are ever ready. You know they are always ever ready. Okay. And so today, I hope you enjoyed our last topic, of conversation, discussion. And if you haven't, you know what, you want to go back there, subscribe to our channel, make sure you catch up on previous episodes. And if there's something you'd like to know, question specific for to us, please put it down there in the comment. We will catch on that. We're collating questions from viewers. We're appreciative of the fact that you're communicating, you're expressing your feedback. Those are the things we would like to hear. We're just not having these things. We want to make sure that we're carrying our community members along in the journey. And so today's topic is, just like you've seen it, the paycheck trap. The paycheck trap. How can the paycheck be a trap? And why is your salary, or why are salaries, right? Why are they standing in the way? Should they not be a standalone? And why are your salary? Why it should not, decide your dreams?
Hmm.
Welcome back. And many people are working very hard. You will agree with me. No disrespect to anyone's, hustle out there. Earning income. But while we're earning this income, we're also paying bills. We're supporting families here in the US and still quietly, wondering and having to support families even back home. And we're asking ourselves, is this all life is about? But the truth is, the paycheck is important, which means that's the time many people are looking forward to make sure they get paid for the effort they've put into right a particular service or a particular activity. Because what? It pays the bills. It
Yeah.
keeps the lights on. It gives some of us, level of stability. But when your paycheck becomes the ceiling over your dreams, then something needs to shift, which is why we're having this conversation. So today, this wonderful, amiable co-host will talk about how people can move from just simply earning this income and building options, creating strategy, protecting their future, and not leaving their future to guesses. Whereby at the end of the day, they live a life whereby they're designing a life that is just going to be way bigger than what their pay day or paycheck could be. So, and in no particular order, I would like for either of you to take a stab at this. Just hearing the word paycheck trap, what does that really mean?
um, Adebola, do you want to go or?
Yeah, I'll go. Paycheck trap. All right, let's talk about this. When we talk about paycheck trap, I think the name or that phrase already says it a lot. It's already says a lot. Well, somebody will be wondering, okay, why is my paycheck a trap?
Mm,
But when someone is caught in a paycheck trap, and that is when a person entire life is sort of controlled by their salary. Everything about you, it depends on that salary, that income that's coming from that paycheck. Your dreams, your decisions, your plan for the future, your retirement, your everything you want to do, the goals and everything, it's all depends on what comes from that paycheck. And it does not always mean that the person is poor, because it's the same. I mean, some high income earners are also trapped in the paycheck trap. This also affects a lot of us. And I've been there before, so I know what this could look like. I would say it's like your entire financial life is running on a tight loop, on with almost no margin for error. And some practical things is, your income comes in and is already spoken for. The moment the paycheck hits, it's gone. And it's often also called that living paycheck to paycheck. That is a paycheck trap. Because before you get to the next month, maybe the next 2 weeks, that money it's already been spent. You already max it out. So income comes in and is already spoken for. There is no buffer, no breathing room. It sometimes goes, if something should go wrong, or you need a car repair or medical bill, even school expenses, it becomes, it creates kind of a stress immediately because there is no emergency fund. So every surprise becomes a crisis because there's nothing you can do, beyond that paycheck. It's not like you're expecting an extra thing. So I believe it's a very difficult situation, and it creeps on us without us knowing, puts us in that corner. Some of us become so comfortable with that space, and we believe, and we just go along with that. Everything depends on my paycheck, and that paycheck will go anytime. So we don't want to get trapped in that comfort zone of a paycheck. So that's what we're going to be talking more about. That's what today's conversation is about, like Mudupe said. So we're going to dig deeper into ways by which this could affect us. And I hope you will get something out of it today. Thank you, Mudupe.
Yeah, you muted, Modupe. And let me just chime in real quick. I would like to say something. I want you to think about the paycheck as something whereby your employer gives you some money just to keep you there so that you don't quit, and you also work just enough so that they don't fire you. I just want to put that out there.
True. That is true.
Yes, I think Modupe, you muted.
Oh yeah, I'm right here.
Oh, okay, all
I know
right.
you wanted to kind of hard on, and I like that analogy that you gave about it. And thank you so much, Debola, for also stressing the fact that it was important for individuals not to see themselves because of that singular paycheck and be very comfortable in that space. And this is a good segue to say that while this is important because many people assume that when they earn a whole lot, that automatically solves everything. You see what I mean? Because of, oh, you have this benefit, you have that benefit. And so you're like, yeah, my employer has it. My employer gave this to me. My employer gave this to me. My employer gave that to me. I'm always like very skeptical of that. And I'm like, how are you sure you're going to have this forever? What do you have in place as a form of plan B? But as you rightly said, right, more income without structure can automatically just become a trap. So let's look at it a little more deeper. Demola, that's going to be you. I'd like for you to please, step in here and then, respond to this. Why is it that so many people get salary increases? They get these promotions, they get better jobs, and yet still feel like they are not moving forward financially. Even a whole lot have multiple jobs. And at the end of the day, it's like three, four jobs. Seriously, I don't know where you get that energy from, but my brother, can you throw it out? How on earth, right? Or why are people found in this trap?
Well, I mean, that's a very interesting question, and I believe in one of our episodes we have talked about this extensively. So I'd
Yep.
like you guys to go back and go watch a rerun of that. But this is what we call a lifestyle creep or lifestyle inflation. Your income goes up, your expenses or your lifestyle also goes up the same way. And a
Mm,
lot of people, they're caught up in this trap because they believe now I've just gotten this pay raise. That's an opportunity, especially for I earners. And I really want to emphasize this with a lot of I earners. People who, supposedly are making six figures. That's an opportunity for you to be able to now invest more or save more. But unfortunately, for a lot of people, the more they earn, the more they spend. Or they get that little promotion, they get that little raise, and the next thing they want to go get that new BMW. They want to go get that new Ferrari. But we have to be very mindful as
mm,
you know people in the diaspora, and that's our focus. As that promotion comes, as that pay increase comes, this is a time for you to be smarter. This is not a time for you to become a waster. You know, what are you putting? Are you putting that money into income producing assets instead of you now spending those things and creating liabilities? And this is something that a lot of people do not pay attention to. So they look at the end of the month, they look at their balance sheet, or they look at their statement. I just got a pay increase of 20,000, 30,000. How come
Mm.
I'm at the end of the month I'm still broke? Well, you're still
mm,
broke because have you checked your spending habits?
mm,
You know, and now maybe this is a time now you want to now send more money home, which there's no problem. Nobody's saying you shouldn't send any money home, but
mhm,
you have to be very intentional here. There has to be some kind of structure. Now, more earnings means more ability now to save more, to invest more, to grow your wealth. It
mhm,
doesn't mean now time to go get in debt. And this is a time whereby, and if you notice, I don't know if you notice that when you get that pay increase, that's when you start getting all these credit cards sent to your house.
mm.
you know, it's a system.
It's a trap.
It's a
Mm,
trap. And don't fall into that trap. Don't go start getting more credit cards now because you feel like, you know what, I can afford to pay off that credit card. But you can't really afford to pay that credit card because guess what? That extra income you've just earned, that you've just gotten, is supposed to help you change your lifestyle to be better so you can
mm,
upgrade your family's lifestyle so you could do better in terms of creating that financial wealth for your family and not throwing it down the drain. And before you know, you go through that cycle. They say, they use this analogy of people, walking on the rolling on a hamster wheel. You know, you could have a wooden hamster wheel. You could have a golden hamster wheel. The fact remains that you're still on the wheel
and
and
it's
you're not going
rolling.
anywhere.
And it's
So
rolling.
I
Mhm,
want us to be very, very mindful and to be very careful so that we
mm,
don't get stuck. As we start to earn more, let's start to save more and invest more instead of starting to accumulate more debt on or liabilities.
mm. Thank you, Demola. You know, one thing I found out from what you just said is that many people confuse income with wealth.
Yes.
Income is what you earn in form of paycheck, in form of pay stub. But wealth is what you keep, what you grow, what you protect, and what you intend to transfer.
Well,
Okay. So the distinction between the income and the wealth is powerful. And viewers, the audience, see, you're going to keep hearing us talk about this over and over again. Okay. We're not trying to beat a dead horse here, but it's part of what we have signed up out there to make sure our community members are aware of. So while your income can make you comfortable now, you heard Debola talked about it, comfort zone, but your wealth will give you options. Demola stressed it. Now you're earning a whole lot more. It's a great time and indicator to set aside that, right? To saving, right? Not just to saving, but now take a step further and invest appropriately, right? Which brings me to my next question, Debola. How can depending only on the paycheck limit someone's ability to dream bigger? A lot of people came to diaspora with a lot of dreams. I have a dream. I have a dream. Everybody does have one, right? Either the one you slept and you thought about, or the one somebody told you you're going to become, or whatever. Now, how can, depending on just the paycheck, literally put somebody in a little bubble and the ability to either dream bigger, take risk, or even create the life they truly desire?
I mean, you just said something before, like like I said, and you also emphasize on it, the comfort zone. The paycheck trap, it puts you in that comfort zone. You feel so comfortable, and I don't blame us. I don't want to use you, because most of us come from that generation, or maybe our background is like, you go to school and then you get a job, you get a paying job, and you just keep doing that job until you retire.
Mm,
But there's a mindset shift. I would say that is old school. And the way our community is today, our communities are today, let me put it that way, here and abroad, things have changed so much that you can't
mhm,
afford, to just depend only on a paycheck.
Hmm.
It does not just limit income, it's quietly shrinks your options,
Hmm.
your confidence, and even your imagination. You can't see beyond it. So you're not even planning, because okay, I only earn 30,000, so I can't do more than I earn. I can't
mm,
kill myself, like we
mm,
say, you know. You're not even looking to. There's no plan. There's no 5 year plan. Oh, okay, I'm still gonna be earning. Maybe I will have started in 5 years. They will have increased it to 35 or something.
mm,
There's no vision.
mm,
And here, this is how it shows up in real life. Your dreams get filtered through. Oh, can I afford to lose this paycheck?
Hmm.
Every big idea, starting a business, going back to school, relocating, taking a creative risk, gets evaluated against that one question: can I afford to lose this paycheck? What happens if this doesn't work and I miss a paycheck? So that's you can't even say, oh, I'm leaving this job because I want to focus on a business, because what happens if it doesn't work and I no longer have that paycheck? So instead of asking what do I really want, you start asking what's safe. What is safe? And then you get trapped in that bubble, like Modupe said, that bubble of that paycheck, that comfort zone. Another thing is the fact that risk starts to feel irresponsible instead of a strategy. You know,
mm,
when your life depends on a steady income, leaving a job feels dangerous. Trying something new feels reckless. Even investing can feel scary. You always say, "Oh, you have that basket." You don't avoid risk because you lack vision. You avoid it because you can't afford instability. This is a result of depending on that paycheck, letting ourselves get trapped in that paycheck. We have to look beyond that. Not in this world that we have now, in these times, this season, we have to look beyond that. A lot of younger kids, college kids, high school kids, they have seen beyond the pay. Some of them don't even want to get locked down in working for somebody, because new grants are being broken and people are seeing new ways to make income, to do business and be free. So if we are already in that paycheck thing, we should be thinking of how we can liberate ourselves from it. You know,
mhm.
survivor thinking replaces creative thinking. That's another thing that the paycheck thing causes. I don't want to take too much time. I'm gonna hold on there, and let's move on. But think about it.
Wonderful. That's a very real point you talked about. And to be honest, the last point you talked about really stood out for me. Looking at the new generation and how they are seeing opportunities. And so they are really breaking grounds and going beyond the norm, beyond this is the traditional, conventional way of doing things.
Yeah.
We're no longer doing things like we're not having the same old conversation. If anybody is still in that class, trust me, you're the only one there. You might want to look around, check your environment, look around and ask yourself honest questions. And I think it takes us to another level of this conversation because we can actually talk about this over and over again. There might be people listening to us who have heard this over and over again, and nothing has changed.
Hmm.
So it is true to say that when you expect a dramatic change in your peers and you keep doing the same thing over and over again, it's a sheer form of insanity.
Hmm.
So many people are not lazy because if you're lazy, I don't think you'll be working to begin with.
Yeah.
You see? So they are just simply financially stretched. And when they are stretched, it is so hard to think beyond survival, which is why we need to have conversations about mindset, Demola. What
Hmm.
are some of the beliefs and mindset that keep people trapped in this paycheck to paycheck living mentality, even when they desire more?
Hmm. To go into that, Alvin Toffler said something. It says the illiterate of the 21st century will not be those who cannot read and write.
Mm-mm.
They'll be those who cannot learn, unlearn,
And
and
relearn.
relearn.
We
Absolutely.
learn.
That's very, very key. And I want us to understand that regardless of what your financial status you might be, whether you make $30,000 a year, whether you make millions of dollars, it's true that everybody will still have a paycheck regardless. I mean, we'll still have bills.
Mm,
So we must understand that the paycheck is just there to pay the bills.
mm-hmm.
If your goal is to be financially free,
Mm,
which I hope that should be the goal of most of our diaspora community or anyone who's listening to us, because you don't want to stay strapped in that paycheck.
yeah.
But understanding that your 9 to 5 would take care of the bills, why don't you find something else that can help you start to build your financial future? The mindset we need to have when it comes to this, paycheck to paycheck, the beliefs that we've been trapped that without this paycheck, we can't get things done. I did not make enough to plan. But the truth is, planning even is more important with the income that that feels limited. If you don't plan, if you don't look at what's coming in and look at what the bills are or what's going out, how can you really even go to the next level? And that's one of the things that we have to understand. So without a plan, money just disappears faster. So the mindset is, I want to start when I earn more.
Mm,
No, you have to start saving now with the little that you have because savings is a habit. It's not something you do out of convenience. It's something that you do. If you earn $100 and you could save 10% or whatever percentage of that, once your salary also increases, guess what? You're still saving that percentage because that percentage also increases as well because of the increase in your pay. But I want us to let people understand that if we don't change the way we see money, we've only seen money as, they say the the
the love of money.
mediocre sees money as something to spend, whereas the elites or the financially savvy sees money as something to be duplicated.
Mm-hmm.
Two different mindsets.
Yep.
And there's a lot of mindsets, and I think that's one of the areas we have to start with. What is your perception about money? How do you see money? If you only see money as a means to just earn a living, then you've missed the boat entirely.
Yeah.
You're always going to be stuck on that paycheck. So we have to start thinking beyond the paycheck. How do I do something else that now helps me to become financially free? So I'll just stop at that because I know there's few things we could still touch
I
on.
like the trajectory which you're taking that conversation, though, if you ask me. And mindset is so huge. To be honest, aside from this paycheck trap conversation, mindset is everything. So if we don't have the mindset in order, you can actually be earning millions and still not get it.
Mm.
Mhm.
You can actually be there and still not
True.
have, everything we're talking about here. So it's quite relatable. And we hope that the audience out there listening to us, will do the needful. There's always going to be a whole lot mouthful to talk about in this conversation, but I'll just allow Debola, just close us us up. On this last question, just tell why should everybody consider streams of income? Because if we're looking at things out here and we're saying paycheck, try and think out of the box, do something. Why do you consider? Why do you think multiple income streams should be something somebody should even be looking at?
All right, multiple income stream. You know, I think there was a one of our episode that we talked about this in the past. Like talking about uh having multiple income stream, and like Dimola mentioned earlier too, you may want to check that. And with just it was our focus was on that. So a lot of the short answer is actually it's not just a trendy phrase. It's also not a one size fits all.
Mm,
Uh, kind of requirement. The real value of multiple incomes stream isn't, it's not a hype. It's flexibility, it's protection, it's and option building. How you pursue it matters anyway. So why the idea became so important, or it's the fact that multiple income stream it helps you to diversify. You're not just depending on that paycheck. Okay, you have that paycheck that is coming from one employer, but do you have something else that it's yours, it's controlled by you. You are the one who decide the the direction it goes,
mhm,
and you put your mind to it to make sure that you build it to how you want it to be. All right. So it is important, it is very important that you don't just rely just on that paycheck. All right. Find something that you can do that is yours. Start a business, invest, put your money somewhere. Think of your paycheck as the first step, and try to build. I don't want to say option B, because it may eventually become your own source of income. It might become that thing that is going to take you to your retirement. All right. So, however, multiple income should be built wisely. It
mhm.
does not mean chasing every opportunity. It means just identify your skills, your interests, your network, your experience, and your time, the time you have to do what you need to do. And then choose something that will align with your life. Okay? Choose something that will align with your life. And the key is not just making extra money. The key is to use the extra money strategically. You know, pay down your debts, build emergency fund, very important. Plan for retirement, and protect your income so that you can have, create a long-term assets, and that's what we
Wonderful.
call wealth building.
Wonderful. Thank you so very much. It's been amazing. And we're going to be calling it a wrap here. I hope you guys have found value in our conversation. And some of the things they had shared today, and some of the things that stood out for me is that the paycheck in question is not the enemy, people. So if you're getting a salary today, it's a blessing. You have a job, it's a blessing. You have something called stable income, it's a blessing. But the problem will come in or will begin when you now begin to see that paycheck, that sole source of income, without you having any other thing, when it becomes the limit of your imagination, when it becomes the boundary of your courage or a ceiling over your dreams, then the goal is just now no longer for you to just keep earning. The goal is for you to make sure not only are you earning, Debola talked about the multiple income streams. There are plenty of it out there.
Mhm.
Look out for the viable one that is in alignment with your skill set.
Mhm.
Your salary should fund your dreams, people. You shouldn't silence it. It should be the one that is going to fund your dreams, and it should become a tool and not a trap. So when your income begins to create options for you, right? And just not us seeing it as a tool to be used to fund those obligations. The obligations are the bills. And our dreams deserve structure. Demola stressed it. Let us be disciplined enough so that we can strategize and start also with clarity. It's been amazing on this episode. If you found value in what we've talked about, please like, share. Don't make us your little secret. Make sure you share to your friends and subscribe to our channel.
Right. Yes.
Until when next we come your way, we hope you keep growing. We hope you keep learning. And together, let us build a lasting life that our future self will thank us for. It's been amazing, Demola. It's been amazing, Demola.
Awesome.
Thank you, guys. And we say bye at this junction.
All right. Take care. God bless everyone.
Bye, everybody.